Okay, today we're going to continue working on inverses of functions. So we have this exercise set, which is 25 of them. In this first section here, problems 1 through 12, we're basically going to graph each function and apply the horizontal line test. A lot of these, or some of these, you should be able to do without a calculator as far as graphing without a calculator, but I want you to have your calculator anyway with this, so we'll just kind of go and see where we end up. Well, here, if we look at this one right here, we have this f of x equals x squared plus 6x plus 9. If I just look at this, I see that I probably should be able to factor this into, what is this going to be in factored form?
X plus 3.
X plus 3, right? Is that right, Chloe? Okay. Yeah, very good. Okay, that's very good. All right, so that's going to be a perfect square, right? So x plus 3 quantity squared. And so when we graph that thing, what is it going to look like?
It's going to go diagonal 3.
What that's going to do is going to move over to the left 3, right? And anybody graph it in the calculator yet?
No.
If you did, this is what you saw, right? Okay, Riley, you saw it. And so is this going to pass the horizontal line test? Not going to pass the horizontal line test? So here's our horizontal line, and we see this doesn't pass the horizontal line test. And so our conclusion in something like this would be no, fails the horizontal line test. So basically it's graph, yes, passes horizontal line test, no, fails horizontal line test. In some of these, okay, great, I'll mark you off the list, appreciate that. So Nicole has gone upscale with the fancy CE calculator, which is really impressive. That's a beautiful thing. Let me go ahead and put you down as having returned. Yeah. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, any questions on this one? So are you working through the other ones?
Yep.
And what I want you to do where you can, I want you to see if you could think about sketching it and sketching without a calculator first. Just kind of test yourself.
So it would be x plus n minus 8.
Which one are you talking about, Chloe? 2. Let's go to.
No, they're both negative.
Oh, duh.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be the same sort of thing, but you're right. So this is going to be this, right? X minus 8 squared. So it's going to be very similar to problem 1 as it turns out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same thing. You're going to, and we're going to talk more about graphical transformations starting next week. So again, you're shifting the parabola 8 units to the right.
It's just the same thing.
So it'll be the same thing as far as the answer goes, okay? Fails the horizontal line test. This one here, 3, is it the same thing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Same type of thing.
What would 4 be?
And then 4, we have this function here, 3x minus 8. So to graph this thing, we have, I guess we got a y-intercept down here at -8, is that right? and we go up 3 over 1. So the thing, when you graph it, it's going to look something like this. Is this thing going to be, does an inverse function exist here? Yes. It passes. Yes. Inverse function exists. Passes the horizontal line test. So really, this part of the exercise set should go pretty fast until we get to number 13 on, for which we're going to do this, plus find inverse functions if they exist.
So, the next one, number 6, it's just a straight line.
So number 6, we have yeah. So this is a straight line, and you know that all lines are straight lines, right? So we have this y equals 4. Does this thing pass the horizontal line test? No, why does it not? Robert, why does it not pass the horizontal line test?
Touches everywhere.
Yeah, it touches everywhere. It is a horizontal line.
Horizontal line test.
So this thing fails by definition the horizontal. This fails the horizontal line test as much as it's possible to fail. All right, good. Now what happens on these ones like 7? What we're going to do, this is set up in the form and you guys that were in Algebra 2 Honors last year, we talked about like the standard form of these types of functions, which is a times, in this case, I don't know if we did the square root one, but we did all of these kinds like it. So you have a times x minus h plus k. You remember seeing, Elizabeth, you remember seeing this all last year? This kind of form? Okay, Chloe does. You remember, Nicole, we did all these kinds of things, right? And so, so basically this is going to do what? This plus 4. Okay, you're going to take the parent function here, and the parent function of the square root parent function is this looking thing, right? And what is this plus 4 going to do?
Move it up.
Move it up 4. Down 4.
No,
And stretch.
no. It's going to shift to the left 4 units. And we're going to be doing graphical transformations next, where you'll have that in your mind. We'll have a Kahoot game on it and stuff like that. But that's what it'll look like. And so does this thing pass the horizontal line test?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. Okay. And that one's a quadratic, a negative quadratic. That shouldn't. Now this one here, number 9, did you check that one out yet?
It fails.
Fails. Okay, this is what you should get for number 9. You should get 6. This is what you should get for this one. You should get like this. And then like this. You said fails the horizontal line test? Here's our horizontal line. Touches once, touches once, touches once, touches once. touches once, touches once. Does this thing fail or pass the horizontal line test?
Pass.
Passes, okay? And it almost looks like it doesn't, but when you realize what's happening to these things at the end, it does actually pass the horizontal line test, okay? And then this one here, passes or fails, horizontal line test. This will be a pass also. This one here, 11, passes horizontal line test or fails. I think the last two. When you look at 11 and 12, do they pass the horizontal line test?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, looks like they both do.
What about 8?
8, yeah, let's look at 8 quickly here. Yeah, 8. Does 8 pass or fail horizontal line test?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what kind of equation? Quadratic, right? So here we have our y-intercept here of 8. So the thing is going to be like very steep. So it's going to be like a skinny parabola. It goes like this. Okay, fails the horizontal line test. Okay, now, so are you done with through 12 on these? Pretty well? Okay. Okay, now 13 through 25, it's the same thing, except if the horizontal line test is passed, then it's find the inverse function also. So anyway, did anybody graph this in the calculator yet? You did? Does this pass the horizontal line test? No, it doesn't. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I hope, if you don't know this right now, that you will at some point. Right now, what kind of function is this? What kind of polynomial function is this? Any ideas? Pardon me?
Imaginary.
Not imaginary. Okay, this is not imaginary. It's a real number, not imaginary. Okay. Let me go ahead and narrow my questioning since you didn't answer questions. Okay, the things you look for is if the function is negative or positive, polynomial function, and odd-natured or even-natured. Okay, so if we look at this, at this thing right here, is this going to be a negative or a positive function? Negative, right? And is this thing right here, now you're looking at this exponent here, what kind of number is that for?
Even.
It's even, right? So what does the combination of even and negative tell you? Okay, it tells you, what this tells you is the function is going to start low and end low. So a function that starts low and ends low, is that going to pass the horizontal line test? No, it's not. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, if you know the nature of polynomial functions, you wouldn't even have to graph it to figure out that it's going to fail the horizontal line test. Does that make sense? Okay. Next. Oops. Now, what about this one? Did you get pass or fail horizontal line test for number 14? Because I can't figure it out, because I know this is going to be like positive and odd, except I'm not sure what this negative x,
No, it fails it.
it's going to fail because, now, so Chloe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing does something like, comes up like this and then goes like, or something like this, is that what it does?
It goes all the way down and then back up.
Okay, it goes all the way down farther
Yeah.
and then back up, yeah. And so this is gonna fail also the horizontal line test. Okay. But you actually have to graph it to figure that out. And I guess we could figure it out without, if we broke this down, we could factor out like 4x, and we'd have left, no, 4x to the fourth actually. 4x to the fourth, then we'd have x minus 2. Yeah. So it's gonna go like this. It's gonna come like this.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna come right here at 2. That's where this 2 comes from, okay? But we're gonna go and work on sketching these types of things from the equation later on this year. Now this 15, did you pass or fail?
Fails.
Passed?
Yeah.
You failed? Failed, yeah. Failed. Usually, if we had x to the 7th, it possibly could pass, but it's this other stuff here that makes it so it fails. Okay? Okay, this one here, 16, did you pass or fail? Pass. Okay, let's go, then it says find the inverse function. How do we find the inverse function of this?
Square.
4 steps. We did this 4 steps yesterday. You guys worked on them all day yesterday. So let's go ahead.
Y.
Okay, so y equals square root of
X plus 8.
x plus 8, then
And then change X and Y. And square both.
the square both. So we get x squared
Equals Y plus 8 squared.
equals y plus 8,
And then subtract 8 squared.
subtract 8.
And X squared minus 8 squared equals 9.
I didn't get 8 squared, I just got 8,
Oh, yeah,
right? So then we say f negative 1 of x equals x squared minus 8, right? Okay, and then, so this is going to be the function, and so that's it. Now it says state any restrictions on its domain. Do we have any restrictions on the domain? Yeah, what we actually do, and I'm going to explain why here. What happens is, if we graph this first one here,
It can't be negative 8, right?
yeah, well, what it does, this plus 8, what it does, it takes this thing right here and shifts it which way? Left 8 units. So it's going to come over 8, right? And now, what happens is we have this function right here, don't we? And so this one right here is going to look like, it's going to look like this. It's going to look something like this, right? Is that right?
I didn't get I just got the first line.
What's that? That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
No.
Hey, I got, were you telling me about Cody Jenks?
Yeah,
You were? I got to tell you something about him.
okay.
Okay, so what happens is, to be a true inverse function, we have to restrict our domain right here like this. To have it, because otherwise this is not, if we have the left part of this parabola, that's not a function. These are supposed to reflect about each other. So we're going to say for domain restriction is going to be greater than or equal to 0. So here's our domain restriction. Okay, it cannot be negative for this thing right here. So this restriction applies to this function here, because otherwise we wouldn't have an inverse function. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what they mean by restriction. I, Nicole, am a customer of Billy Bob's in Fort Worth. Do you? Well, I've seen performances there. My brother and I go to concerts. We saw Mo Pitney, we saw Junior Brown, but they send me emails. And I got an email, I think, that Cody Jenks is actually coming there.
Josh Abbott Band was there the other weekend.
Pardon me?
Josh Abbott Band.
Oh, Josh Abbott Band, yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to see if my brother wants to go, and I might go.
Do it.
But their concerts are,
Party up, Mr. G.
but their concerts are pretty reasonable. It's like you go there and you can get like the table seating there for probably $30 or something like that. Is what it is.
Wow,
It's not-
that's cheap.
I don't know. It depends on the performer, of course. It's not always the same. But here what we have for this one, I don't know if you've graphed it, but this is actually a semicircle.
And it fails the horizontal line.
Yeah, so fails the horizontal line test is going to look like this. Okay, so fails the horizontal line test. So we'll just go on from here, okay? But this form here, I recognize that this is a circle of radius square root of 6. So what happened is you see on your paper on the front of that QR code, you see that? That's a video of some of these problems being worked out. And you know what I did during lunchtime before this class? I watched the video that I made a few years ago, just to remember. And this one right here, is this going to fail or pass the horizontal line test? Fail, right? Yeah. So it's going to fail, and this is one that we did cover in Algebra 2 Honors last year. And the thing's going to look something like this. Right?
The big V, yeah.
Yeah, so this failed. We actually did work out things like this last year. You remember that last year we did?
Mm-hmm.
Absolute value. That was the very
Yeah.
beginning of the year. That was in section 2. Okay, so fails. And so 19. Does 19 pass or fail?
Yes.
It should pass. And then to work this out, we would have y equals 4 minus x over x. And so we would change this to x equals 4 minus y over y. Right? And then multiply through by y, so we get xy equals 4 minus y, and then if we add y, we get xy plus y equals 4, and then I'm going to bring this up here to bring room. We have y times x plus 1 equals 4, so we divide by x plus 1, so we get y equals 4 over x plus 1. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then that would be f negative 1 of x is equal to 4 over x plus 1. Now, are there any domain restrictions here?
Yes.
What's the domain restriction for this one?
Can be one.
Okay, almost, okay, restriction. And I'm gonna put domain restriction. Domain restriction, X
Head thing on Mr. Chairman.
cannot equal -1. Okay? But, so anyway, that would be it. I want to show you something in the calculator. You can test these out, and I think we talked about this yesterday. If you take this one right here, four minus x over x, right? So we graph the function, this is what it looks like, and then we graph the line y equals x. So we're going to see a reflection about this y equals x. And so we come down here and we graph, what is it? This 4 over x plus 1, is that right? 4 over x plus 1, and we see what it looks like. So we graph, and do you see that that black curve is a reflection? I'm going to get a different color. Well, no, I guess we'll stuck with it. Yeah, I'm going to go to magenta. 4 over x plus 1. Okay, do you see that? Do you see how these, the magenta one and the blue one are reflections? You see the reflection, how they're reflections? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a test of the inverse function. So there we are. And this one has an inverse too, right? 20. I'm not sure about 21. Oh yeah, I am sure about it. I watched the video.
Passes.
21? Yeah, I think 21 passes. It's kind of a weird one, but does pass. Let's see, we go through 37. Okay, we got some time. I'm gonna go, Nicole, I'm gonna check that out and tell you about it.
Okay.
But sometimes when you hear about something, it's like, if I hadn't heard about Cody Jenks, it wouldn't have even caught my attention. But then after you hear about something, that's when you watch out for something. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those deals. Good. Bands in town, Cody Jenks. Actually it isn't one. It's bands in town. There's a live stream. It's not Billy Bob's that notified me. It says Saturday, September 12th at 7 p.m. There's a live stream of Cody Jenks. So it isn't Billy Bob's after all. But his hometown, it says, is Fort Worth. So really, I ought to be able to see that guy live. Okay, he's going to be October 9th in College Station. He's going to Bristol, Tennessee. He's going to be in Lubbock, Texas next year. Rochester, New York. I don't see anything local for him, but he has a live stream on Saturday night.
Mm.
That's what it was. Okay. No, I think he's a performer I'd like watching. He'd be a good live performer, I believe. Okay. Next. Did you do 21? Justin, no. Anybody do 21 yet? Are you working on 21? Riley is this, she nods, did, yes. Nicole, you working on 21?
Oh, yeah, she don't.
Passes.
Passes?
No, I was gonna say.
Yeah, passes. And really what you have is this, you can have a 0, you can have undefined, because 8 minus x cannot equal 0, so cannot equal 8, cannot equal x. So there's going to be some kind of a vertical asymptote, is it? Well, let me just put this in the calculator. 6 over square root of 8 minus x. So we get this looking thing here. So it's going to be this blue one here, right? So we want to find the inverse. So the inverse should go something like this, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to erase all this. Okay, so we go ahead and rewrite this. We're going to write y is equal to 6 over square root of 8 minus x, and then we have x equals 6 over square root of 8 minus y. Is that right? And then if we go ahead and cross multiply, if we go ahead and multiply this up here, and we could take this x and cross divide the x, so we'd have square root of 8 minus y equals 6 over x. Does that look right? And if we square both sides, I'm going to come up here, we're going to get 8 minus y equals 36 over x squared, right? And then if we subtract, we're going to bring this 8 over here and make this negative over here, right? And then if we go ahead and multiply by negative 1, now I'm just doing this to save space. We're going to have y is equal to negative 36 over x squared plus 8. Is that what you got? And so that's going to be your f negative 1 of x is equal to negative 36 over x squared plus 8. So that should be our answer here. Did anybody graph that in the calculator yet?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Does it work out?
Oh, wait, which one?
This one here,
No, I didn't.
21? Okay, I'm going to do that. So we come here. So we have, so negative 36 over x squared, is it plus 8? So we do that, and this is what we get. So does this one on the right look like a good reflection here? That looks good, right? But what about the one on the left?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't, right? So the one on the left doesn't match. So that governs our domain restrictions. So our domain is going to have to be for x is greater than 0, less than infinity. Because that means that we just have this piece on the right, this black one here, okay? And that's it. Now we're kind of coming up against the end of class time here. And I realize that you may not finish all of these today. And I'm okay with that. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is have a little quiz on inverses of functions. It'll be one of these pretty easy quizzes. And then we're going to start working on graphical transformations tomorrow. Okay? Yes? Finished here? Oh, very good. It's like, Michael, yeah, I want. Okay, great. Chloe doing the overachieving. Appreciate it.